Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I have a tutorial for you today. I don't have a finished product because, well, it's fairly simple, so I may go back and start the video once I'm done, in which case this is all going to be moot. So, but I'm using this, I feel like I need to find other words. It's beautiful paper from Graphic 45. It is the Woodland Friends, and I'm using the 8x8. So I've kind of rejigged the card, and it's a card, like, not really an album, but it's a pretty impressive card. So originally, the video that I had seen was using just 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock, and then you score them so that you have 4 sections. So in this one, because I wanted to have the least amount of waste as possible with this pack, I reconfigured the sections to be 4x4, which meant that I'm cutting, I have substantial pieces left from my cuts. So I have pretty decent size pieces. Sorry, now I have the hiccups. So these are all the pieces that I have left over. And as you can see, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paper. I'll leaf through it a little bit. Like, just beautiful. And it is available in a 12 by 12. We have both in stock right now. So if this is something that you're looking at, then, sorry, I can't seem to go page by page, but beautiful, like bunnies and squirrels, and the cut-aparts are also extremely cute. There's that kind of quilted look, flowers, just beautiful. More cut-aparts. So I did use some of the cut-aparts. These are going to be for my outside, because there'll be 2 panels that'll be on the outside on either end. These are some of the other cut-aparts. These ones just happen to be a little bit on the larger side, and I'm not feeling like fussy cutting today, so you could totally cut that out and make it part of the album card. I don't even know what it's called. I'll find a name for it. I just don't know what right now. But essentially I've started putting it together because, like I said, it is not incredibly difficult. I will set some of this aside. Excuse me. I'll go through the measurements and what I'm using. And this way, excuse me. This way you'll know how to put this together. But like I said, it's really easy, and I feel like for the style of card, it's quite a showstopper. So essentially what I'm building is I'm building 4 boxes like this. And because this bottom piece is scored, they'll all fold up into a nice little neat package. The only thing is afterwards, I'm not sure how to keep it tight, but I think you could always tie a ribbon, but I think I'm going to make a belly band. So we'll be making that together because I haven't really thought a little bit about it, but I haven't really given it a lot of thought. So to start off with, you are going to need 4 pieces of whatever base. I used ivory. So you're going to need 4 pieces that are 8 by 8. You are going to score at the 4, flip it around, and then score at 4 inches as again. And then one corner. So when I was doing it, I just chose one corner that I kind of was doing the diagonal. So you're going to score on the diagonal, obviously, right to the middle. And to do that, the easiest thing to do, I'm just going to get this one because I haven't actually done anything with this one. Let me set that aside. So the easiest thing to do is put your bone folder or scoring tool, whatever you have, on the center point. So I would do this and then mark it also at the tip. So I just want to make sure, because this is thick, that you just are going to be following the correct line. You're not going to kind of end up off the off your mark. So you go through that a few times, scoring, and then you are going to fold. And as you fold, you want to make sure that your lines or your edges rather, all kind of line up as best as possible, because it will all be folded eventually all together. So you want to try, I mean, a little bit off is not the end of the world, certainly. It is homemade. It is not intended to be perfect. And then, like I said, ultimately they'll all stand up. So whichever corner or box that you are scoring, you're going to want to cut this bottom piece. Okay, so you want those to be kind of opposites. You don't want to have it anywhere else. Otherwise, I'm not sure that this works. You probably could make it work, but it may not be the same. So that is what you need to do. All 4 bases are the exact same. So told you it was going to be easy. No complicated scoring or cutting needed. It's pretty simple. So you repeat this 4 times. Then what you're going to do is you are going to need a total of 12 boxes is what you're going to need to eventually cover with pattern paper or another color, whatever you decide. Then these pieces are going to be cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. For a second there, I just had to remember which one I was doing. And because I did do a larger one, and the really, really nice thing about this album or this card is that you can easily resize it. So if you wanted to go up to and do the 12 by 12, you could do the 12 by 12. The only difference is you're scoring at 6 and then across at 6. I made these because originally my math, I guess, was not so strong. And I made these, which are 10 by 10. So these would have used 5-inch. But obviously with the 12 by 12, if you use the larger 12 by 12 designer paper, then again, you're not going to have a lot of waste. And even these little pieces that I had to cut off that were like remnants, I'm not going to throw those away, because those could easily be embellishments for either inside the card or for another project, because of course I've got a ton more paper left to go through. So we're going to go through putting the pieces on. So every box is going to need 3. So total of 12 pieces that are cut. Wasn't sure if I mentioned that. A total of 12 pieces that are cut. In this instance, they're going to be cut 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Now, the other thing you're going to do is, I have checked, I don't even know, a million times the whole time I've been putting this together. And I'm doing the same thing again, over and over and over again. So double check it before you start gluing it down. And this way you know that you've got your paper in the right orientation, especially if it's designer paper that is directional. And in this case, I pretty much all, with the exception of the plaid and some of the florals, all of it was directional. So you just want to make sure that your paper is going the right direction before you start gluing it down. So this is pretty much how I did it, is I set the card up the way it's going to be standing and then just kind of let it fall down. And that way I know exactly where things are going and in what direction. So I'm just going to grab my liquid glue. I have inked all of my edges already, so that way I didn't forget any in my haste and excitement to put this together. And again, it just kind of lends itself to that vintage kind of feel. Whoops, that is not straight. That was not straight anyways. Excellent. Okay, so I put that part down. And this is the same color. So you'll notice in a lot of the cases, I've used the opposite side as part of the same block. And then, as much as it kind of kills me to use it to lose this beautiful paper, I don't want to have all the blocks the same. So I like showing off the paper because it's just so beautiful. It is beautiful paper. Okay, we'll do that. And then I've got my 2 corner pieces. So essentially these 2 pieces, the triangles, are the exact same. They're 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 and just cut on the diagonal. If you are not sure, I just like one tip that I have if you're cutting anything on the diagonal would be when either you can mark it with a ruler. I know this is not perfectly square. It's just a scrap that I grabbed. But if you're wanting to cut it on the diagonal, you can certainly mark it with a pencil with your ruler and then cut it with scissors. That is totally fine. If you were using your paper trimmer, in the paper trimmer, you are going to line up both points. So the top and the bottom, I just want to make sure I'm in frame here. The top and the bottom are lined up. I am going to move my blade into the middle and sink it in. And this way, when I move the blade out, I'm not wrinkling the tip of the paper. Extremely sharp blades will probably go through no problem, but if it's even a little bit worn out, then there are times where it will kind of like bend over the tip. So it's just better safe than sorry. And even this one, it kind of has creased it and folded it in a little bit. So the point is not going to be as crisp. So just a tip there. So I'm going to finish gluing the rest of the papers down. Did I do that one? Oh, I did that one. trying to pick up the paper that's already glued. That's going to be problematic. All right, just a little bit of liquid glue here. And we'll turn that over. And again, you just want to make sure all the borders, that there's a little bit of a border, especially this one. You don't want it to you don't want to get too close or overlap the score lines. So that's the most important part of putting this together when you're gluing your designer paper down, is that you just don't go too crazy and give yourself enough space. So another tip. I'm full of helpful tips today. There we go. Perfect. So this is my 4th box. So I'll show you really quickly kind of the boxes that I had. So I basically chose almost like a focal point, and the focal points are on the same box in every single, the same panel in every single box. It's always the top right. It's been a long day. So again, the same thing here, top right, and then I've chosen another tone on tone. There'll either be tone on tone or some of the geometrics that are part of this collection as well, making it super, super cute. So again, I've got 4 different focal points, the larger patterns, and then, yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do is build our boxes. So this piece that's empty is going to fold behind the box so it can stand freely, and then all of the boxes are going to be glued together, making one box that can be folded neatly all together. So hopefully I'm making sense today, because the way that my brain is working is I don't know how much sense I'm making, but hopefully it is making sense. Okay, so I'm going to use some of my liquid glue. Gosh. Okay, and then carefully line that up to where I feel that it's nice and square and flush on either side. Press that down because you're not gonna, there we go. You can press it down from this side once it's all folded in. And there we go. So I'm going to continue doing that for the remainder of the remaining 3 pieces or 3 boxes. I guess they're really not boxes. They don't have lids, so I'm calling them boxes anyways. Okay, so as I'm finishing this, I realized there were some little details that I wanted to put on the inside, and it certainly would have been easier to do this while the paper was laying flat, but I did not think of that. So I'm going to go through and quickly add these little, so this was a little cut apart, and I just put it on a bit of foam. I didn't choose a foam that was super thick because the more that you add, the thicker it's going to be, and it's just gonna, it may not lay properly. And even with this, I'm hoping, because of course I've not made this yet, this is my first attempt at making this, I am hoping that I line this up properly, because it is extremely sticky foam tape. And then it doesn't stick up too much. If you added so much foam to it, it's just going to add to the bulk of it. And I don't know ultimately if it's going to actually be able to be folded in. So that's all I wanted to do, is on some of these pages is to add a little bit of something. And that's why I saved the extra scraps. I mean, not only for this, because if I don't end up using it, now I'm trying to remember what goes where. Trying to use some of these cut aparts, and but I just don't want to use a ton of them because, well, the paper again is just so beautiful that, oh, okay, this is going to be the death of me. This really is. I love the foam tape, love it, but this backing sometimes can be a bit troublesome getting off. So trying to just barely pierce the adhesive backing, or the protective backing, I should say. Now I got my fingers all in the thing. This is crazy. Oh, lordy. There we go. Okay, so this one, again, just popped it up on a little bit of foam tape. And this is going to go here. Try to make sure that I got this as centered as possible. Oh, that really is not centered, but that's okay. I'm okay. I'll live with it. It's all good. Some of these cut aparts are super cute. All of the paper is amazing. And of course, because it all goes together, I just wanted to color coordinate. Like each section has kind of, I guess, a theme, because I'm using the different colors to kind of coordinate with each other. Or no, I'm not using the different colors, but I'm using patterns from the collection that have very similar color palette. And so one will be mostly like have the lighter greens, one has the blues. So it just is dependent, you know, on your style and what you'd like to have done, how you want it to look. There, coming at it from upside down works a whole lot better. And then this one, I think I was just doing this little guy. I don't think I was doing anything else with this one. Oh, maybe Maybe I was going to run that because I inked it up, but just to kind of make it look more substantial, because there wasn't anything that was really pink. And I really like this one. Everyone Needs a Friend. It looks so cute. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this down first, which is just more of that pink tone-on-tone floral that we have at on the bottom page, or the bottom panel, I should say. And that is kind of as centered as it's gonna get. I'm gonna peel, or attempt to peel, this backing, and then we'll apply this, and then we can start putting together all of our boxes, which I know they're not boxes. Okay, let me go at it from the top again, because I feel like that's my best vantage point. I'm gonna do something like that. Very, very cute. And it's got bunnies here. It's got bunnies there. I matched up the squirrels. This was the only one that really didn't have anything because it was a floral. So I chose the owl and Be Curious. And then the green one, of course, had that cut apart from, that was kind of mirrored this image and the animals that were in it. Okay, so now that we have all of our boxes done, I'm going to, because these two have a lot of green, I'm going to put those in opposite corners. So this is basically how it's going to look when it flips out. So everything kind of folds in. Obviously, we're going to leave one area that is open, otherwise it's not going to fold. It'll fold in, but it won't fold. So it's going to close like that. So you're going to have a little, you know, a little card, I guess, for lack of a better word, that folds into a little piece like this. And then I've got some pieces that I've cut for the outside. Okay, so all I'm going to do next is I am going to, I think for this one, because it's going to open and close a lot, I am not going to use my liquid glue. I'm going to use some tape. Probably will go over it with some liquid glue, and that way I have a little bit of time to kind of play around with it, making sure that I don't tape it in a weird spot. So just grabbing some of my double-sided tape, my score tape. I love this stuff. And then you're going to have to remember, that I'm not going to do, I'm covering those anyways. I'm not putting glue or tape on those sides. You don't want it to go all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to lay my score tape down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so not only have I finished putting all of my tape, I've actually done the first part because I forgot that I paused the video to save the battery because I don't have a lot of battery life on my phone. Okay, so obviously I put together one part, but the rest of the parts go together just the same. So I've peeled off the adhesive backing from my score tape. I'm just going over as kind of my safety net for ensuring that the pieces or the panels are lined up correctly. Adding some glue really gives you that wiggle room that you don't have with score tape. So, and what I did the first time was I folded both so that they were in the closed position, and then kind of line them up on my desk. But of course now it's getting bulky. So you line up the corners and then just kind of fold them. That's not really lining up properly at the bottom. And then just kind of fold them inwards. And then they're all lined up. So now you can see we're getting to the point where we almost have the full the full circle. It's not really a circle, but you get what I mean. So I'm going to continue doing this with this last section. Just peel off the adhesive backing, and then we'll be done. We'll do our front, our back cover. I had an idea for the front cover, but if I'm doing a belly band, it's going to get caught. So I'm rethinking my idea of what I was going to put on the front, just as a little extra decoration, but it's not a big deal. So belly band, I think, would be more practical because this is not a card that will stay closed on its own, and for good reason, because it is pretty bulky, especially since I added some of that foam, which I don't regret. I probably would have done that even if I knew it was going to be a little bit bulky. All right. So there we have it. We have got all of our sections done. So this is ultimately what the card looks like. So pretty spectacular card, if I do say so myself. So now that all of those pieces are put together, I'll tell you what I was thinking of. And see, it folds up into a nice little pack. That makes sense to be the front because, you know, opening a book, you would open it like that. So I feel like that would be the front. And this is the beautiful paper that I had selected for the front. What I was going to do, I will tell you in a second. I'm just going to lay this piece down because this doesn't impact it. You could, trying to think, you could probably wrap a ribbon around it. If you did the ribbon, you would put it underneath the front. And so this way it's always a part of the card. I don't know. Just trying to think. Oh, you could. You could totally do a ribbon. You know, and now I'm, again, rethinking my idea. I thought you wouldn't be able to do a ribbon, but you totally could. So I am just going to pause for a second, see if I have a ribbon that I really, really like, and okay. I will be right. So I have found a ribbon that I think I like better than doing a belly band, which also means that I can do the other part, which I wanted to do, but didn't think I could. Anyhow, hopefully you followed along with that, because I'm not even sure that I followed along with that. So I've got roughly, so that's 24, maybe about 30 or so inches of this organza ribbon. And so now I'm just going to lay some of the score tape again. I'm going to get this in the middle as much as I possibly can without going right to the edge, because remember, your paper, this is rippable, but I just find with the thicker ones that I'm never really good at ripping it. So just use the edge of my ruler. You don't want to go all the way to the end, because although the ribbon is going to cover it, this is a very porous ribbon, so the sticky is probably still going to seep through. And the paper that I'm putting down, remember, is going to leave a bit of a border, so you don't want to go from edge to edge. So I am going to peel, no wait, I'm going to do the back first before I get, again, super excited and start taping stuff down. Kind of eyeball it. Wow, that was not very centered, but I can do better on this side. And it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I like putting the score tape down initially because it's just going to tack down the ribbon where you want it. So you don't have to be too fussy. Okay. All right. So this is the front of our card. I'm going to peel back the ribbon or the adhesive. Let's put that in frame so it's not all at the bottom. Kind of folding that in half to give me an idea of where the center point is. get that laid down. Just going to lift it up so that I can be sure that I'm putting it in the middle more or less. And then that will wrap around to the back, but I'm not going to peel that off just yet. I want to finish my front first, and this way I know that I'm not going to glue it or inadvertently tape it to my workspace, because I've done that before. That's not pretty. Although I did find it hilarious. Oh, Lord. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so this is going to go in the front. It's a little bit squishy because obviously I've got the what are they called? The foam pieces. So it is thicker than it normally would be, but not like, it's not obscenely thick. So I don't really care about that. I like it because it added a little bit of dimension on the inside without being stupid about it. So there. So I'm going to lay down my back piece. I've got another piece here that I cut that we're going to use as the back. Okay, so my phone died. You'd think I'd learn by now. So I got the back on, I've got the front on, I have my ribbon on. So we're just about there. The last kind of tip, trick, whatever that I wanted to share with you is I wanted to put this and elevate it a little bit on the front, but using foam, I don't feel like is durable enough. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of chipboard from my leftovers, from my scraps. It's basically the same size as the piece that I'm using. I am going to be very generous with my liquid glue. Cover the side. You don't want it to like ooze out, but you know, I want good coverage, basically is what I'm saying with that. So then you just take your piece. I'm going to lay that down. Lay this on top because I know roughly, because it's liquid glue, you can kind of move it around. So now I've got kind of like a chipboard piece without having to purchase the extra chipboard stuff. So, you know, it's pretty easy. So if that's all you've got is some chipboard, you know, some chipboard remnants as well as, you know, some of the cut aparts, then you're good to go. You can make yourself some beautiful things for the outside. And, you know, part of the reason is that you want the outside to last. It's going to be held, it's going to be handled, it's going to be, so you don't want things like that. And I don't feel like the foam is quite as sturdy and durable as obviously the chipboard, and it's low profile too. So it's not going to kind of be all over the place. So I wanted this a little bit down right there. Love that. And I was looking at some of my other cut aparts and I had a few, kind of moved everything over to the side when we were putting it together. So I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I think it was maybe this piece that I was thinking of putting here. I kind of like it the way it is. I don't want to, sometimes less is more, as I think I've been told that once or twice. Less is more, less is more. So, you know, we'll do the less is more this time. Next time I'm going all out. Okay, so have a lovely little bow on the side. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller so it's not quite, you know, all over the place. I'm going to cut off the extra. And there we go. So maybe we can call this the never-ending card. Although it does end, it is you know, there's a lot of panels. If you wanted to include, you know, certainly you could have pictures on every single box that when you opened it, maybe there's, you know, a picture to go with a couple of beautiful sentiments or some cut aparts, but this will work for a lot of different occasions. So hope you enjoyed my tutorial today. And if you have, maybe give me a thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job. That would be amazing. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe as well as the bell. And that way you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. Thank you so much again for joining me today. Hope you had a great time. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.